sometimes in battle, size matters less than the will to win. Here, a relatively small deer is displeased that this huge hoofed beast has intruded on its pasture. The deer decides to drive away the opponent with a swift attack. It charges into battle and forces the larger distant relative to stand up. The giant dodges the blow, and it becomes clear that it outweighs the aggressor by about 3 times. But if you think this stops our relentless fighter, you're mistaken. The large deer is shocked, but the opponent continues to pursue it. The huge beast doesn't rush to retaliate blow for blow, which is a mistake. It thought one of its kind would be enough to deter the smaller opponent, but it picked the wrong hoofed animal to mess with here. The small deer keeps pressing and attacks the enemy again, sending the huge deer flying. Today we will show you other cases in which hoofed animals have shown that they shouldn't be underestimated. Antelopes and zebras gather in very large herds, which can number several thousand individuals. Hoofed animals travel together, but they use their numbers only for a more coordinated and effective retreat in case of danger, rather than to resist enemies. Instinctively, herbivores often start running away immediately upon spotting a predator, even if they outweigh it in size. During a mass escape, the silhouettes of hoofed animals merge, turning into a single living stream. The predator cannot easily choose one victim or approach it, and in the end, it is forced to attack the stragglers. Here, the pack of hyenas chose this tactic to deal with the member of the hoofed herd who shows weakness. But the hyenas clearly made a mistake in choosing their target. The pursuers did manage to scare off the hoofed animals, sending them fleeing, but that's just where the standoff began. The wildebeests and zebras didn't run away chaotically and panic-stricken. Instead, they maneuvered, made wide turns, and counterattacked. This confrontation looks incredibly epic. The hoofed animals scatter from the hunters like water spreading in circles from a thrown stone. The hyenas get carried away with this chase, focusing on their target, but the sudden change in the prey's direction confuses them. At that moment, one of the hoofed animals charges. The hyenas are forced to dodge. They barely avoid serious injuries from the powerful blow of the herbivore's body. Zebras and antelopes may not have sharp claws and fangs, but they sure know how to use their arsenal well. A kick from such a massive creature, especially when reinforced by a charge, can break a hyena's ribs or knock out the predator. And a simple collision at full speed with a running zebra doesn't bode well for the predator either. Dodging the counterattack from the hoofed animals, the hyenas lose speed, stop, and are forced to start their attack from scratch. Yes, the herbivore's beasts are right there, very close. They can't really run far because other members of the herd are blocking their way in the distance. The hyenas think the hoofed animals are trapped, and all they need to do is speed up slightly to sink their teeth into the target. Unlucky with their last attempt, and the enemy turned out to be too fierce and fast. Well, no problem, they can just choose an easier prey, right? Not so fast. The hyenas don't have the element of surprise on their side. The herbivores indeed retreat from the aggressive attacks of carnivorous enemies every time. But not out of panic or fear, but simply out of reluctance to sustain unnecessary injuries. Maintaining composure, the swift-footed antelopes and zebras easily accelerate, distancing themselves from the pursuers and showcasing their incredible maneuverability. To disrupt the hyenas' attacking momentum, a counterattack can be initiated. The hoofed animals are not willing to take risks, but they demonstrate that the fact that the hyenas won't get their prey and will have to leave hungry. Do agree, such quick reflexes, composure, and the ability to elegantly withstand a fearsome enemy commands respect and deserves your like now, doesn't it? To calm an excited horse or prevent it from being irritated, special blinders are often used. This helps to isolate the hoofed animal from external stimuli, and the creature can relatively effectively navigate its surroundings using its other senses. But here, a cheeky dog decided to take advantage of the situation and attacked the horses. It's unlikely that the dog suddenly turned into a predator wanting to tear the hoofed animal's throat. More likely, the dog wanted to prank the huge animals. Well, it's her fault. The horse did indeed get scared, but considering the size difference, it's the dog's problem, not the hoofed animals. The horse not only literally trampled the dog, but also delivered a series of powerful blows that will leave the dog's head hurting for days. It had better learn its lesson. One shouldn't mess with horses. Here, 2 dogs have attacked a single donkey. But the toothy predators didn't know what they were getting themselves into. Although this type of hoofed animal is much smaller than a horse in size, even a large predator would envy its combat qualities. The donkey charges and the dog panics and retreats. But that's just the beginning. At full speed, the hoofed animal grabs the opponent by the hind leg, easily lifts it off the ground, then throws it and doesn't stop running. In a matter of seconds, the donkey demonstrated its superiority in strength, trampled the opponent, and inflicted more pain with one bite than the dog could fit with its teeth. The injured dog and its kin retreat in panic. That's just what effective self-defense looks like. Gnus are quite large animals. They are smaller than buffaloes, but still bigger and bulkier than panthers, which prey on them. In one-on-one standoff, a lioness has a chance against this hoofed animal, but it will take effort, usage of the element of surprise, skills, and experience. The beginning of the hunt for the cat went according to the perfect scenario. She managed to catch the prey by surprise, then efficiently launched the attack and knocked the antelope off its feet. Dominating the prey, the lioness sinks her teeth powerfully into its throat, cutting off its breath and compressing the trachea. It seems like victory is practically guaranteed, when suddenly the hoofed animal regains consciousness. It appears the antelope expected to be attacked by a whole pack of enemies, not just a single lioness. It seems this herbivorous animal can still hold its own against a single predatory cat. Recovering from the initial devastating blow, the gnu confidently rises from the ground. The lioness tries to hold on onto the prey, digging her claws into it, fiercely gripping its throat, and almost hanging on to the opponent, but the antelope stubbornly stands up. Heroic effort, and the tension of all its strength yield results. The panther shouldn't have underestimated this hoofed animal. The lioness is helpless. When the antelope rises, the cat realizes its grip is weakening and partial access to oxygen is restored. To prevent the antelope from escaping completely, the lioness hangs onto the prey with all her muscular and heavy body, but the antelope has its own tactic against this move. It steps on the lioness. Striking the enemy with hooves is risky for the herbivore, as the antelope may lose balance and fall to the ground again. Instead, the gnu positions itself so that the lioness's body is between the front legs of the hoofed animal, and the gnu simply crouches, causing the panther to arch its back at an unnatural and very painful angle. The hoofed animal literally tries to knock the opponent against the plant. The lioness realizes she can't hold on and wants to avoid brain concussion, so she lets go of the enemy. The opponents scatter in different directions. The lioness didn't know what she was getting herself into. The antelope showed remarkable resilience and endurance, which led to its victory in this intense standoff. Although hyenas are social animals and most effective as pack hunters, even a single predator of this species can be very dangerous. But as you can see, not for this zebra. When the hyena attacked the striped-hoofed animal, it surely didn't expect what was coming. Spoiler alert, the hyena is in trouble. The hyena clamped its toothy jaws around the base of the zebra's hind legs. The hyena exposed its flank to a counterattack, clearly not expecting the ferocity and strength with which the zebra would start biting. The hoofed animal clenches its jaws and inflicts terrible pain on the enemy, but the hyena still continues to hold on to the prey's leg. Understanding the choice of a target for the strike is quite simple. This part is well suited for gripping with jaws, it's dense, very appetizing from the hyena's perspective, and potentially deprives the prey of mobility. A lioness or a leopard in the hyena's place would surely attack the throat to bring down and suffocate the zebra. And to be honest, this tactic has much more chances of success than the rather straightforward behavior of the hyena. It relies on its jaws as the primary and ultimate weapon. It must be acknowledged, the biting power of the predator is impressive. A hyena can crush quite large bones with one bite, which is important for it as a scavenger to access nutritious bone marrow. Its teeth are very strong and sharp, and the neck is powerful. Sometimes the hyena simply tears off a piece of flesh from the prey and immediately starts consuming it, while the wounded prey, stunned by the overwhelming attack, limps away in panic, trying to retreat and losing strength with each passing second. But here, the plan failed. The zebra, of course, is in pain, but it only infuriated and angered her. Although in the face of superior enemy forces, this striped hoofed animal will most likely flee, the zebra's character is very tough. Now she will unleash all her anger and resentment on the enemy at the fullest. Yes, the hyena approached the zebra closely, not allowing her to lie down, but what the predator didn't know and couldn't appreciate was the strength of the zebra's jaws. An unpleasant surprise awaits the hyena, one that will leave her with unforgettable impressions. The fact is that the zebra really doesn't have canines with which it could bite through the hyena's throat. The teeth of the hoofed animal are flat, but this is not a flaw, but an advantage. Zebras feed not only on juicy grass, but also on very tough, thorny plants. The stems of such plants are not easy to cut. Therefore, zebras, like donkeys and horses, literally grind them with their flat teeth. The strength of their bite is unexpectedly huge. The hyena's hide is intact, but notice the red marks all over its surface where the zebra made contact. It traversed the entire back of the enemy, generously rewarding it with painful bites to the neck, the midsection, and to the base of the spine. The hyena had to literally dance to prevent the zebra from breaking its spine and paralyzing the predator for the rest of its days. And although it managed to avoid this fate, the pain from the zebra's counterattack is dreadful for the predator. Additionally, the bulkier zebra jerks the hyena, constantly causing damage not only to the hide, but also to the muscles underneath it. Furthermore, the zebra attempts to damage the predator's spine. Although the hyena resists these attempts, its nerve endings under the skin have endured such pain as if they were doused in acid, set on fire, and shocked in that area. The zebra managed to break free and run, shocking the hyena. The predator pursued the unsuccessful prey for some time, but was forced to let go. What first comes to mind when you see this image? You've got to agree, this zebra evokes genuine sympathy. It's stuck in the swamp, completely losing mobility. Just imagine what a living creature feels like when it realizes it's trapped and can't move properly. Sticky mud surrounds it from all sides. The swamp sucks it down slowly and inevitably. Notice the zebra's expression. Its ears are drooped down, a clear sign of fear and stress. It frantically looks around, trying to find something that could help. But instead, we see a crocodile, which sees the zebra and clearly comes to the same conclusions as we do. It feels no sympathy towards the hoofed animal whatsoever. On the contrary, the zebra's misfortune is an opportunity for it, as the massive and powerful hoofed creature is practically helpless. This is a fairly young reptile. Although it's dangerous for the zebra, if the hoofed animal were free from the swamp's shackles, dealing with it would be extremely difficult. Now the crocodile simply intends to swim up and claim its meal, easily finishing off the animal already tired from constant struggle. The swamp's strong embrace holds the zebra, and the crocodile doesn't even bother to hurry or hide. It smoothly and ominously approaches its target to deliver a fatal bite and sink its teeth into the zebra's muzzle or neck. The reptile's body has a specific slightly flattened shape. By distributing the body mass across its flat belly, head, and long tail, the predator easily avoids becoming the prey and doesn't get stuck in the swamp, getting closer to the frightened zebra with each passing second. But the crocodile didn't know who it was dealing with. At the most crucial moment, when only a few seconds remained before the decisive attack, the zebra easily and without visible effort rises and stands up from the mud. It emerges from the trap with such elegance and speed, as if it hadn't been in trouble at all, but simply had been relaxing in a mud bath. The zebra immediately turns around and calmly walks away from the bewildered crocodile, who didn't understand what had happened just now. The crocodile didn't even attempt to attack or chase after her. He just looked disappointedly at the departing meal that he wouldn't get to eat today. Was it the zebra's second breath that multiplied its strength by 10? Did gravity along with viscosity simply switch off, or was it a prank? And the zebra was just resting, deliberately taking his time to calmly get up and slip away right under the enemy's nose. In any case, the scene looks epic and funny. The zebra showed that it shouldn't have been underestimated. What do you think? Let us know your opinion on what exactly happened and how the zebra managed to free itself from the mud so quickly and effortlessly. Horses are experts when it comes to letting the opponent know they've made the wrong choice. There have been many episodes captured on camera where normally patient animals retaliate against an innocent but cheeky enemy. For example, this goose clearly picked the wrong fight with the horse. The bird can't harm the equine, but it gets annoying. That's why the massive horse sends the goose into an uncontrollable and epic fight with a single strike. Here, a rather cheeky rooster is chasing a horse. It looks funny, but the bird underestimated its opponent. The horse is really holding back. Just look at how it lifts its leg several times, ready to deliver a powerful blow, but holding it back. Finally, the horse moves on. The rooster probably thought it had driven away the giant, who simply didn't want to harm it. The bird followed the equine, and that was a mistake. The horse's patience snapped, and it struck with such force that the bird instantly flew out of the frame. An enraged lioness lunges at the wildebeest. The hoofed animal tries to evade the attack, dodging and running in zigzags, but the lioness is not easily fooled. She crashes into her target and knocks the prey off its feet. The animals fight, raising a huge and dense cloud of dust and sand. Surprisingly, judging by the shadows and silhouettes, the wildebeest uses the momentum from its run to seize the initiative, meet the lioness's charge with a devastating blow, and toss the panther's body from side to side like a rag. Incredible, right? Maybe, but when the animals emerge from the dust clouds, it's the lioness who panics and flees, while the wildebeest aggressively attacks the opponent. It seems the predatory cat made a wrong choice in prey. This lion pride goes out hunting. These are young predators who are just learning to control and use their strength to maximum effect. But they have plenty of strength to spare, incredibly fast and swift. The lions also possess devastating strikes and a repertoire of techniques that they have tested in battle many times. Fearlessly, the lions approach a herd of buffalo roaming the area in search of food. The predators aren't afraid to confront these huge hoofed animals, yet they proceed cautiously. The herd sends out scouts to deter potential enemies. At first, the lions retreat, but it's just a ruse. They lure the enemy into a circle and surround it for attack. The lions pounce on the buffalo from different sides, sinking their long claws into it and biting. The lions carefully attack from behind to avoid the powerful horn strikes and simultaneously immobilize the enemy. The buffalo, weighing around half a ton, shows incredible strength and withstands the initial onslaught. It fights, spins, and scatters the enemies. Gaining momentum, the hoofed animal charges, knocking off the predators, forcing them to release its skin or at least loosen their grip. But there are about a dozen lions here. Against one buffalo, that's too many. The predators attack the enemy again and again. The bull doesn't stop and shows no signs of fatigue, fights bravely, knowing exactly what's at stake. The epic confrontation drags on. Lions are particularly endurance animals, but there are many of them here. While the first 5 fight, the second rests and monitors the situation. The panthers are confident of victory. Perhaps not immediately, but they will bring down this giant and manage to sever its throat. But they made one mistake. The lions are accustomed to the fact that when a hoofed animal is surrounded, it's left to fend for itself. When several lions encircle an antelope or a gazelle, no herbivores come to their aid. However, the panthers underestimated this buffalo. One member of the herd comes to its comrade's aid and charges into the fray. The lions are shocked and the bull scatters them, but one of the predators doesn't manage to dodge. The hoofed hero crashes into the enemy at full speed, delivering an impressive blow with his horns. The buffalo knocks down the opponent, lifts him off the ground, and throws him away right before the eyes of his kin. But the defending bull isn't just waiting for salvation. He actively helps his friend, suppressing the enemy's attack and turning them to flee. Other bulls arrive. Now the lions no longer have numerical superiority. One of the hoofed animals receives a couple of shallow wounds from the predator's claws and fangs, but the lions aren't unscathed either. They are hungry. One of the lioness has broken ribs, and now they will have to look for prey elsewhere. The enraged buffaloes finally drive the lions back and banish them. It was a big mistake to engage with the hoofed animals, who possess such bravery and fearlessly rush into the jaws of the predator to help their kin. The huge crocodile lunges out of the water, attempting to grab the wildebeest right by its muzzle. But the speed of the hoofed animal's reflexes is impressive. The wildebeest manages to recoil and narrowly, by just a couple of inches, avoids the fatal grip. When replayed in slow motion, this scene looks cinematic, epic, and funny at the same time. The wildebeest appears clumsy, yet super fast. It literally jumps out of the jaws of the terrifying predator, who didn't expect such agility. The herd of wildebeests arrived at the watering hole. The hoofed animals chose an excellent spot. Here there's a wide strip of cleared land, so there's plenty of water and no sudden transition to deep water. It would have been very difficult for predators to ambush them here. But they managed it. Crocodiles have excellent camouflage. In murky water, especially on muddy shores, they become practically invisible. As the wildebeests approached the shore, the huge predatory reptiles simply froze and gave no indication of their presence, allowing them to deliver a sudden and sharp strike. The crocodile grabbed the wildebeest right by the head. It looks terrifying and impressive. The reptile's jaw is incredibly strong. Interestingly enough, the bite force of an adult crocodile is significant enough to leave scratches on metal. Therefore, even though the reptile grabbed the prey by the wide part of its skull, the grip is strong, even in such an awkward position, and the hoofed animal has almost no chance of breaking free. Moreover, the huge crocodile possesses tremendous strength simply due to its body mass. Thanks to the horns protruding from its head and the shape of its skull, the wound from the bite is not fatal or particularly serious. However, the predator firmly holds onto the prey, dragging it towards deeper water. Suddenly, a second crocodile appears. Generally, these reptiles aren't particularly good at cooperation. They don't use any tactics to increase the efficiency of their joint work. They simply attack the enemy simultaneously from different sides. But usually, even this is enough to overcome even a large hoofed animal. Here, the situation for the wildebeest was even worse. The first crocodile managed to turn it in such a way as to accidentally expose its legs to the second one's bite. Together, the crocodiles could simply tear apart the hoofed animal, but this is not the end. The reptiles perfectly executed their hunting tactic and only one erred in one detail. Hippos were nearby. Almost all the time during the battle, they calmly watched the situation. It seemed they were just missing popcorn. But when the crocodiles turned towards them, the hippos were stunned by this audacity and decided to show who's the boss here. They descended upon the crocodiles and easily snatched the wildebeest away from them. The reptiles were shocked, but they had to retreat to avoid becoming the main course. When the crocodiles turned towards them, it turned out that this battle aroused much more intense emotions in the giants than they had initially showed. Hippos are not afraid of two crocodiles at all. On the contrary, the reptiles anger the huge animals, who don't like it when disorder and noise are made on their territory. The fate of the wildebeest doesn't concern them, but the audacity of the crocodiles, who imagined themselves to be the masters here, is indeed a personal insult to the hippos. The wildebeest is free, but far from safe. The hot-tempered hippos, provoked by the scuffle, could instantly break its spine with the slightest provocation from the hoofed animal. You'd think that after the sudden attack by 2 crocodiles, the epic struggle, and being surrounded by hippos, it would be impossible for the wildebeest to remain calm, right? But it turned out that these fearsome animals had engaged with the wrong hoofed creature. The wildebeest maintained composure and poise even under the watchful gaze of 3 aggressive hippos. Despite the crocodiles being nearby, ready for another attack, the wildebeest didn't make any sudden movements, behaved as quietly as possible, and even pretended to be a piece of wood that had accidentally fallen into this waterhole. This behavior pleased the hippos, who dislike noise. They were so pleased with the wildebeest that they didn't even break its neck. Believe me, for such brutes, this is an act of kindness. The number of hippos increases. But this doesn't bother the wildebeest. It continues to hold its ground in the water, behaving cautiously and calmly even when surrounded by a whole group of more than a dozen fierce giants. The crocodiles, although lacking endurance, decided to attack the wounded prey from the depths. They relied on their camouflage and stealthily approached the antelope, unnoticed by both the hoofed animal and its surroundings. Another sudden strike almost proved fatal. The antelope began to submerge underwater, desperately resisting and kicking its legs. It fought and displayed an incredible will to live. Perhaps this earned the respect of the hippos. Or maybe the crocodiles just accidentally brushed them with their tails during the struggle. In any case, attacking this bold and intelligent hoofed animal was a big mistake for the reptiles. Hippos dived and rammed, bit and battered the sorry reptiles. Most of the confrontation remained hidden under the murky water, but the real waves were generated by the amplitude and powerful movements of the huge animal, the desperate convulsions of the beaten crocodiles, as well as by the resistance of the antelope. In the end, the crocodiles never resurfaced next to the herbivores. Perhaps they swam as far away as possible after such a harsh beating, remaining underwater. Or maybe they'll never resurface again. In any case, accompanied by the hippos, who literally escorted the hoofed animal to the shore, the antelope managed to reach dry land and survive. It received several painful but shallow and non-dangerous wounds, so it can be called a winner here. If you think this is a standalone case, you're mistaken. Here, a crocodile clamped onto the leg of a wildebeest. It tried to pull its limb free, but the teeth only dug deeper into the flesh of the hoofed animal, almost breaking the bone. However, the wildebeest doesn't lose its composure in this episode. It fights desperately, exerting maximum effort to prevent itself from being dragged into the depths. To finish off its prey, the crocodile has 2 options. It will either try to lure the opponent into the water to disrupt its balance, or at least submerge the wildebeest's head below the water's surface, or it will start spinning. The second option will certainly break the wildebeest's leg and likely dislocate it, but the crocodile will have to accept that instead of the whole body of the hoofed animal, it only got 1 limb. So the reptile drags the wildebeest to the bottom. However, the predator doesn't know who it's dealing with here. Although it actively paddles its tail and pushes with its short legs, the wildebeest acts just as effectively. With its hooves, it digs into the sand at an angle to compensate for and counterbalance the predator's force. The hoofed animal can't overpower the reptile as it is too large and strong. Escaping isn't an option either, but the wildebeest is determined to live and refuses to give up. In their prolonged standoff, the crocodile managed to drag the wildebeest far enough into the water, but the prey is still fighting. It did something the enemy didn't expect. The hoofed animal crouched down, sacrificing maneuverability and mobility to lower its center of gravity and prevent itself from being drowned. This unexpected move increased the stability of the wounded hoofed animal, allowing it to brace more securely against the muddy bottom. However, now it's all about the endurance of the adversaries. And now the hippopotamus joins the play. It had been watching this battle for a while, and it was clearly fed up with it. Hippos often intervene in predators' hunts on their territory. Usually it's just to teach the carnivores a lesson, so it's not uncommon for the prey of the pursuit to miss its chance. They either give up too early or made too much noise, after which the hippos brutally finish them off. However, the wildebeests had learned well the nature of these huge guardians of the waterholes. When the hippo attacked the crocodile, the clever hoofed animal immediately seized the opportunity. Thanks to its wide field of view, the wildebeest knew exactly where to move to immediately be out of the reach of the enemy's teeth, and yet not fall victim to the attack of the enraged giant. The 3-ton massive giant intervened in the fight and turned the tables. It attacked the crocodile, crashing into it and instantly causing panic among the predators. Of course, to survive, the crocodiles had to retreat. However, they weren't going to abandon their injured and partially mobilized prey, so the hippo stood in their way, barely avoiding crushing the reptile. Meanwhile, the wildebeest rushed to the shore and was saved. These intelligent hoofed animals know how to behave to take advantage of the intervention of hippos for their benefit. To agree, the ability to use the situation to one's advantage can be as much of an advantage as immense strength or high speed. An incredibly tense and furious yet beautiful chase. 2 hyenas are chasing 3 zebras to bring down and kill the youngest one. One of the predators almost catches the prey. Just a few more seconds and the fanged jaws will seize the animal, bring it down, sink into the tender flesh. But a larger hoofed animal accelerates and attacks the enemy. As it turns out, it deliberately stays away from its kin. Thus, the massive large hoofed animal shields the young zebra from the trailing hyena with its body and can timely intercept the attack of a faster predatory creature. This is true professionalism. The zebra fiercely attacks the enemy at the last moment and saves the young individual. When the hyena tries to repeat the maneuver, the same hoofed fighter swiftly goes head-on and nearly knocks down the hyena, forcing it to retreat. This predator simply didn't know who it was dealing with. The young individual was saved. She was completely unharmed. Probably 2 adult zebras are her parents, but you've got to agree that they act on the same level as the best professional guards. Moose are large and strong enough to occasionally venture into human territory, such as cities and farms. There, the huge hoofed animals feel quite confident, but this time they'll have to clear out, because this yard has its own tough guardian. It's not an enraged pack of dogs, but a horse. Moose clearly picked the wrong opponent here. The beloved hoofed pet of humans isn't going to tolerate these intruders and charges in a ramming attack. The frightened moose didn't expect such aggression from the horse, and in panic, they scatter as if being pursued not by an herbivorous domestic animal, but by a bear. Today we'll show you other cases where hoofed animals demonstrated that it's better to avoid messing with them. Episodes in which hoofed animals escaped from dire danger and narrowly evade threats through wit and cunning are certainly impressive. But on a physical level, these creatures are capable of much, and they shouldn't be underestimated whatsoever. They use cunning more as a last resort, typically relying on sheer speed and strength. It looks epic and beautiful. Panthers use 2 main tactics during hunting: ambush and stalking their prey. The reason for this choice lies in the characteristics of feline physiology. Their bodies are capable of producing an impressive burst of energy. No, not like superheroes shooting lasers from their eyes, but in terms of sudden bursts, huge leaps, and incredibly powerful strikes. But in terms of endurance, they're not so great. While they can accumulate resources in their bodies for swift attacks, cats can't sustain such a pace for long. Therefore, they rely on a fast and short attack, for which they need to get close to the prey one way or another. This lioness got lucky here. She was resting under a tree when a lone zebra that separated from the herd calmly approached her. There was no one to warn her about the impending danger, so the hoofed animal passed by calmly, exposing its back to its attack. The lioness immediately seized the opportunity and leaped up to pounce on the prey, to bring it down, strangle it, and tear it apart. But the zebra's reaction speed shouldn't have been underestimated here. It immediately bolted and swiftly moved away from the enemy. The element of surprise wasn't achieved. It's also impressive that the zebra doesn't run straight from the lioness, but takes a curve, making a wide arc. The zebra runs so fast that even in this case, it manages to gradually widen the distance. All this because the smart hoofed animal understands the ambush threat and fears the presence of other lions nearby. The hoofed beast hurries to return to its kin, so it runs, taking a quite complex trajectory. However, the herbivore sprinted so fast that even during a short chase, it managed to outmaneuver the lioness and make her swallow dust. The zebra broke away from the pursuer as confidently as an Olympic running champion would outpace their PE teacher at school. The lioness is left only to watch with the retreating zebra. What do you think? Does the cat envy the enemy's speed or regret being here alone without the support of her sisters? This predatory cat simply picked the wrong hoofed animal, one that couldn't be outrun, even when all the advantages were on the panther's side. Labradors are quite large and strong dogs, but they are also very kind, friendly, and playful. When a wild deer entered the backyard of this family, the black Labrador decided to play with the guest and went to him with a ball in his mouth. Pretty cute, isn't it? It seems like the deer got lucky that the Labrador is well fed and didn't attack the hoofed animal. But then it turned out that the dog picked the wrong opponent here. The deer starts showing aggression, rears up, and tries to beat up the poor little dog. Then it chases the Labrador, who is shocked by such behavior. Surprisingly, it's the miniature and light hoof that becomes the aggressor. Moreover, the deer not only chases the dog, but also pushes it, tries to direct it in the right direction, and then abruptly and sharply stops the disobedience. The sharp hooves of the deer flash dangerously close to the head, and especially to the eyes of the Labrador, who simply just wanted to play. Of course, the deer is lucky that the dog's mouth is occupied because it's teeth that are the main weapon of this predator when it comes to a fight. But at the same time, the bravery and fighting skills of the deer are doubtless. It seems like this bear has switched roles, and it's the deer here that is the predator and the pursuer. Fortunately, judging by the fact that the animals never exchanged serious blows and didn't really injure each other, in a few minutes, the standoff between them truly turned into a semblance of a game, which both of them enjoyed. However, it will be a good lesson for the Labrador. Turns out, hoofed animals can be unexpectedly tough. Which of today's cases in which hoofed animals put up an impressive resistance to enemies and showed their strength surprised you the most or evoked other vivid emotions? Share your opinion in the comment section and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Then you'll be the very first to see new amazing episodes from the world of wildlife.